ENTV today, I am excited to be bringing you Diana M. Joice. Diana, I'm really excited you're coming to the stage today. I've been looking forward to interviewing you. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, I think so too. And the name is Diana.
Oh, Deanna. Okay,
Yeah.
Deanna. All right. Well, Deanna, welcome here. And Marty Smith, thank you for. Actually, no, you didn't come from Marty Smith, but you've connected with Marty Smith.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And
So,
so now we're
Deanna,
working together. So this is
yeah.
really incredible. Absolutely.
Okay. This is amazing. Okay, so Deanna, for those that do not know you and don't know what you do, how do you introduce yourself into a new crowd? What do you typically say?
What do I typically say? Hi, my name is Diana. I'm Joyce, and I'm here to have a lot of fun.
Okay, I like that. So how do you typically have fun?
So how do I typically have fun? I love helping people. And before I did leadership and team building, I was very much in the relationship space. So intimate relationships was my heaven. I was totally immersed in that, and it was so much fun. Now I noticed that, or I have gotten an anonymous book, or a book from an anonymous sender about leadership styles. And I was kind of like furious because there were a lot of manipulation things going on in my realm. And I was like, screw you, you anonymous jerk, right? I'm like, I'm not doing leadership. Why would I want to be doing that? Then I became homeless. I lost my children. So I didn't lose them, but we're no longer living together. And I was on homeless for a little bit. And then I really wished I had a book to read because you have a lot of time on your hand. And a lot of times I noticed how people don't know how to handle themselves under that kind of pressure. It's freedom, but it's also the kind of pressure of, do I actually like myself? And so that became a big thing. And I really wished I had a book. And then I was thinking about, that leadership book might have been it. Might have been my next favorite book. I don't know. The moment when I got back into an apartment and I had a bed and I could sleep on a bed, it was like the first thing I did was I Googled, I was looking up, who does leadership? And Simon Sinek came up with his Leaders Eat Last. That was the very first thing that I bought. I went to Thalia, which is a bookstore here in Hamburg, and I ordered this book. And I was so happy that I did because this man just spoke to my heart. And I'm like, man, I had no idea that leadership actually interests me this much, but leaders are relationship people. By nature, they have to be because they are leading people. Yes. So that's basically where it all began and
Wow,
how it
that's
started. And
quite
now,
a story.
yeah. And now I study at Harvard and like leadership and business. And I was like, why would people actually come to me? And I was like, I have no credentials, but I was wrong because before I had a PR company over 6 years and I was working together with companies like Bose, like Yamaha, like BMW, like Porsche, Procter and Gamble, Odlo, so many more like Salamander. What else? I can't really remember all of them, but those were the top of the line companies that I was working with and doing events and conventions, so moderations on there. And I had to assemble teams for these events. So I already know everything that I need to, but I wasn't aware of that. So just to add to my credentials, I said, okay, I'm going to study at Harvard because, it's not only that they are great teachers, but it is also like the name, right? It's like when you come
Sure.
from Harvard, you do have an education. There is no getting around that. And so that was the basis into my jump into leadership and team building.
Wow. What did you learn from being homeless? Like that, there's a lot of people that have not experienced that, but is it like a refining process? What is it? Do you just strip everything away? Like, what is it like psychologically, even?
For me, it was the ultimate freedom. There was nothing tugging at me. There were no costs involved. And sadly, I have to say, there were no children who were coming to me. It was just me. And I was sleeping in the forest. So for me, it was just like everything just felt off, like the whole pressure of civilization. Like there's a contract here, a contract there, there's a bill there to pay, there is an apartment here that you have to clean up. You didn't have any of that. I had none of it. And I felt the most, yes, I was hungry, I was freezing and all of that. But it was freedom. Like I don't even know how to explain that. And I didn't want to sleep in the city, in the streets, because I was like, I don't really want to hang around the people who are feeding off despair. And I was like, the forest is a much more sacred and safe haven for me. Although there were people there sometimes, because I slept on the second floor of on a playground type tower thing. So, but it had a roof and it was really cold and sometimes even minus zero. And so the only thing that I had at that moment were just a jacket that I bought from, what's the company called again? I don't know, but it's a very, very heavy winter jacket. And without that, I couldn't have survived. And actually in 2 nights, I couldn't sleep through because it was so cold. I had to move my body. So I packed up all of my stuff, put my backpack on my back, and I just jogged through the forest to stay warm. But it was just freedom, so much freedom. It's like, I can't even, I don't know. I
I don't
want to
even know what
go.
that's like to not have bills. Like
Huh,
I don't think anyone knows. Most people would not even know what it's like to not have bills and have the always lurking in the back of your mind. I got to pay that. I
yeah.
got to pay that. So your biggest takeaways from that experience, one or two or three takeaways from experiencing that freedom, what would they be?
I want to go there again without the hunger and without the freezing. I want to be in a place again that is actually allowing me to feel that freedom again. Like no one is tugging at me unless I allow it. And all of these things that have led to homelessness were just all like these clawing at you type things that society kind of like puts on you. And that can happen through anything. Even if you say, well, I don't have a roof over my head, that's an obligation. So I didn't want to have those type of obligations anymore and saying, I have to pay these bills, but instead saying, hey, I want to do this. That's fine. And that's what I consider freedom. Not I have to do it because it's required per society or some kind of how can I say that? A way of, yeah, just basically obeying society, right? And all of these demands, what a good person or what a free person is. And so a lot of people say it's money. I agree with that half and half because I have experienced total freedom in complete poverty. It's a mind thing. It has nothing to do with, I have a lot of money. I think it is actually if you want to live in a specific way, if that is something that you actually want for yourself. And for a year or so before I became homeless, I was actually preparing for survival training. And so my mind was already there. I just didn't have the materials. I didn't have the flint. I didn't have a stove. I didn't have a tent. I didn't have, or a hammock, nothing that I actually needed in order to really live outdoors. But mentally, I was already there. So that might have been already the thing why it was such a relief for me.
Wow. There's a lot of times in my life I know I've chased thinking if I only could get this mug, it would give me, and then you get the mug and you're like, well, that didn't at all give me what I thought. And then you get it from the craziest thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you're bringing this into now because you've evolved and developed as a person. Obviously, you're still growing. And now you're bringing this into teaching leadership and team training and management. And So how does all of that come into the picture now when you do your work, Deanna?
Oh, that is so cool. It's such a cool question. Thank you for that. Actually, the leadership part is where you start to lead yourself. It's like where you actually get into the grits and into the mud with yourself and going like, hey, you know what? I like myself. And people say, hey, if you like yourself, you're kind of like maybe up there and whatever. That's not necessarily true. You can go the narcissistic route, which I don't recommend, but you can actually say, hey, you know what? I really like this person here. I stand for something that is more valuable than anything that anyone can offer to me. And even if they would have chucked me in prison or would have kind of like dumped me off a ditch or whatever, that's the value that you carry into a conversation. And I see this in you as well. So this is the reason why I was very, very attracted to having that interview with you, because you kind of like stand for these values. I know that you're a marketer, but I can feel that presence as well. You have a true interest in people. And so thank you for that.
You're right, I do. To me, it's the most rewarding part of this whole experience is interviewing people, hearing stories, because I get transformed by stories. Stories, is, at least for me, is what changes me. Hearing
Yeah,
someone's story, hearing your story is the best part of this whole thing for me.
thank you.
So, who do you want to connect with here, Deanna? Who do you want to get to know? What is your interest in this group, ENTV?
So when I saw ENTV today, your mic, stage, and audience. Wait, I'm just reading off here on the side of my display. I was like, okay, let me see what that's all about, because there are so many groups out there that actually offer, hey, you can market yourself and you can, have the next client here. And I'm actually looking to make an impact. That's the first thing that I would like to do here in this group as well. And maybe even if you want to, I could do a speaking event as well, because right now I am um, being with Toastmasters and learning speaking on stage and doing impromptu speeches. And so that is a very cool thing to do. And I really enjoy that. But what my main purpose here is to connect, to collaborate with some people, and to really create something better, a better type of leadership, a better type of momentum, like creating something. I don't have the full vision just yet, but I'm just working my way up there. What I see is that leaders are becoming like you say, the empowerment people for others. And so leadership is based in helping other people to do their job the best way that they can. That's the only job a leader really has, is to see how can I mobilize these people to go into my vision, and how can I make certain that they do their job well and they love it. So, like I said before, leaders are people, are relationship people.
Mm,
And that's basically what I'm here for, to create that, and perhaps to create also um, a pool of clients and collaborators, and seeing where can we take this? How can we do this? And perhaps a clientele not in the traditional type way, but in a way that we are working with each other and we're giving each other some kind of platform for each other. So, I mean, you are already doing this. It's like in this, I don't really know how I'm going to word it just yet. But I think that working with clients is so much fun that I want to do it in a different type of way. Maybe like with a survival type setting, or maybe skydiving, or maybe sailing, or maybe scuba diving, or whatever, and we just hand signal and
fun,
something crazy and just out of the box.
very fun. Well, I'm relaunching my networking events here, meet and greets. If you've been interviewed this year, you'll have access to come on one of those, and they are actually broadcast live into the group. So, 10, 20, 30 people on camera, and then also it streams live so people can. So I'll send you the link for that after next week. They'll be launching booking into August. So you can definitely take advantage of that. Well, I love what you're saying. You're very obviously an outside of the box thinker. What type of personality have you done your Myers-Briggs, or have you done the BOCE entrepreneurial assessment? Have you done, what is your personality
Yeah.
type?
Yeah. So my personality type is ENTP. So and I'm a female, and so I fall into the category of like maybe 1.2% of women being ENTPs, because most women are feelers. So instead of ENT, they have that ENF, and I'm an ENTP. So that's actually quite cool. I think it's quite analytical thinking and very much
Yes.
mad scientist
You're not
type.
driven by feelings, you're driven by more thoughts and intuition.
Mm, am I? I think it's a mix of both,
Yeah.
because ENTPs are also very good at being introverts. So
Okay.
the way that we process can completely change and shift depending on the situation, depending on, um, yeah, it's basically the situation, right? So what kind of resources do we have? Do we use the internal resources? Do we create our own world on the inside? Or are we going and we're plucking from our, like extroverts usually do, and we're plucking informations from the extroverts who are putting it out there, right? So the introverts are putting the world out there and we are collecting it. It's like mirroring, rebounding. Is that something for me? How that sounds interesting.
Amazing. Well, lovely to have you here, Deanna. This is a real treat. Yeah, your unique personality, that's for sure.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to seeing you on networking events then. ENTV, I will be tagging Deanna. Reach out to her. She would love to connect with you. Deanna, please put any links to anything afterwards in the Facebook comments of your interview. And looking forward to seeing more of you in the network. So, closing thoughts, Deanna? Anything you'd like to leave with?
Closing thoughts. Yes, I have this new course that I'm creating together with Marty Smith. And so it's all about resilience. So this is for startups who are looking to get their game on, for people who are looking to really get a grip on what it takes to lead a startup through that very first phase. So that's what it's all about.
And leading a startup is not easy. I'll tell you that.
It's not easy. I
It's
know.
not
I know.
easy.
I had several. Yeah. No, it's not easy.
Okay. Well, Deanna, thank you for being here. There's a comments. Marty was saying hello to you in the comments, as well as a few others. So thanks for being on ENTV. ENTV, please reach out to Deanna. Let her know in the comments what you appreciate about her. And we'll keep chatting here as we go off air, but we'll look forward to seeing you on ENTV again and on networking events. Okay, we'll end it here.
Yeah.